obviously, like, the story of the Silk Road is that he gets busted, right? But is it unique the way that he got busted? Was he, like, not supposed to because the technology should have protected him?
A lot of different things happened. He was probably going to go down regardless. News publications were writing articles about the Silk Road. Like, it was bringing a lot of heat.
It was in the mainstream?
It was in the mainstream, yes. But before it was in the mainstream, the United States Postal Service basically alerted the FBI saying, hey, we're seeing an uptick in the amount of drugs that are being attempted to be moved through the Postal Service. And they all seem to have some association with something called the Silk Road. And that was very early on relative to the life of the Silk Road. And that triggers an investigation. You could argue that a lot of people knew about the Silk Road and they were trying to investigate it and their superiors just didn't care. But for some reason, the Postal Service saying drugs are moving through the Postal Service, that was enough to get the ball rolling on an actual investigation.
Because your mailman was suddenly a drug dealer, unknowingly.
Yeah, I mean, and there's tons of comedians that have jokes about that.
Uh-huh.
Like, my favorite drug dealer is the mailman, or my favorite drug dealer is the FedEx guy, right? So, like, there was a lot of, it was in mainstream, like, people were just joking about the fact that this thing existed, and this is how I get my drugs. Eventually, this guy gets put on the case right here in Baltimore. One of the first things this guy does is he creates a fake personality on the Silk Road, and he attempts to befriend Russ Ulbricht. And he does. He actually becomes one of his, like, people that he talks to all the time.
And they fall in love. So you've got mail situation.
Let's just say Russ trusts him.
Okay.
I don't know about love, but he trusts him. And one of the first things that the guy does is offer to buy Silk Road from him. So that kind of is what gets Russ's attention, because this guy kind of puts a price tag on what it's worth. And I wasn't present in the room when it happened, but, like, I think that once someone made an offer to buy this thing, it gave it, like, a real tangible value, like the Snapchat guys did to Facebook, right? Like, Facebook came in and said, Snapchat, we want to buy you. And they said, for how much? And Facebook said a number, and they said, great. Now we're going to take that number and go pretend like that's what we're worth. And so that's kind of what happened here, where this detective pretended to be this cartel guy, offered to buy it from him for like $1 million, I think. And then Russ was like, what are you talking about? Like, it's obviously worth more than that. But, like, okay, you've put a price in my head now of, like, what this could be worth. Just fast forward a little bit to the end. When they arrested him, eventually, they calculated that he was doing like 7 to 8 million a year, which is, like, crazy because it's not above board.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's a lot of money to be moving around. Or Bitcoin.
Right. But this detective, as he's befriending him, Silk Road is growing. And so Russ is kind of like, well, who can I talk to about this? And it just so happens that this guy that he started talking to,
this FBI
agent who he thinks is a cartel guy, he's been in the game technically. He's investigated these guys, so he kind of knows how to talk the talk. So he gives Russ, I don't want to say he gave him advice, because I think that would probably be illegal for an FBI agent to tell you how to run an illegal operation. I don't know. It seems like they're allowed to do whatever they want these days. From very early on, he is basically talking to the feds. He's basically giving up the whole game. Not all of the information, but he's talking to this guy about his problems. And this guy knows all the problems that Russ is having running the Silk Road. So the Silk Road is growing, and they got to hire customer support, because now there's buyers and sellers that
people deserve a certain level of customer service, even if it's just buying drugs on the internet.
It is a marketplace. They have like a code of conduct, let's just call it. And so he eventually hires this guy to like be customer support. And it's like this old guy in Utah. Well, the feds figure out who that guy is, and they set him up. And they like send him a fake box of cocaine or something. He brings it in his house. They kick his door in because they're the ones who gave it to him. And they arrest this guy. The guy knows why he's being arrested. He's not like unaware of what he's doing. But he just starts spilling the beans because he's just customer support.
He has nothing to lose. Yeah.
And, when he starts talking about Russ, he's like terrified of this guy because Russ had created this persona called Dread Pirate Roberts, which is from The Princess Bride, which is a very popular movie of this like infamous pirate that apparently the person behind the mask continually changes. You sell the persona, kind of like Gallagher. I don't know if you know Gallagher, the comedian.
No.
But he's a guy that like smashes watermelons with a with a sledgehammer. That's like his whole thing. So allegedly, Gallagher the comedian has like sold that persona. Like multiple people have been Gallagher. Allegedly. I don't know if that's officially true, but I've seen and read that multiple times.
So Russ had this persona that he was this like badass drug dealer?
Yeah. I mean, he's running an illegal drug marketplace. You would assume that somebody doing that has some capability of malice. So basically what happens is that this guy got arrested and Russ finds out, and Russ goes to his friend, this cartel guy who he thinks is the cartel guy. It was really FBI. And he's like, hey, man, I got a problem.
Oh, man.
And the cartel guy knows he has a problem.
Oh, my God, what happened?
Because he's the one who arrested this guy.
How two-faced.
And he's like, look, I just need you to like go find him and get my money back. Because apparently when he got arrested, they confiscated some Bitcoin. And it looked like the guy had stole it. Somehow that goes from, I need you to go rough him up and send me my money back, to just kill him.
Wow.
And
Russ, what happened to your code of conduct?
Well, this is the Walter White. It is
Breaking Bad.
This is Heisenberg, right?
This is the criminology. This is where my criminology degree comes in. I don't really remember what I learned. But
you paid for it.
People commit crime. No, I do. People commit crime, and the logic behind it is that it's like they get in too deep, and when you're around a bunch of criminals, you become a criminal.
Yeah.
Like that's literally what happened. It's like if you are caught once doing something that's illegal and you go to jail, you are surrounded by so many criminals that you're going to come out a career criminal.